This is the second video in the series Demystifying Harmonica Positions, and today I want to show you some really cool stuff which is hopefully going to be a light bulb moment in understanding exactly why it is we want to use more than one position on the harmonica. As I said in the previous video, it's got nothing to do with wanting to play all of your songs in all of the keys on a single harmonica. Stop being so stingy. And it's got much more to do with the fact that each position has its own character and feel. And now I'm going to show you exactly what that means in a digestible and fun way that's going to be easy to remember and helpful in everything you do. We're still only in video 2 in this series, so keeping things simple, we'll kick off in first position. Now the only thing you need to know in addition to what we learnt in the last video is that this is a major diatonic instrument and it was built to play a major scale. In this case, E major. That's an E major scale, as you can see depicted down the left here. Why have I picked E major rather than C major? Well, based on what comes next, I ain't got the harmonicas to pull that off in C. Hopefully you'll understand what I mean as we progress. So what happens when we move to second position? Well, the first thing is we'd expect that all of our root notes would move to where our fifth notes are at the moment. That's what we learned in the previous video. And we'd also expect either our root pitch, that's the pitch that we're playing now our root has moved, or our harp key to have changed. And in this case, since we've locked the root pitch as E, we now have to move down to an A harmonica. Looking back at the main screen, we can still see that we've got our E major scale highlighted on the left hand side, and we can see that generally everything still looks like it's in place. One thing is out of place now though, and that's our 7. No bother, we'll swap it out for the flat 7. We could have played the 7th if we knew how to do 5-hole overblows, but that's not what second position is about. Second position is about playing a Mixolydian scale. Mixolydian has a different character, doesn't it? Let me play the first position major again. Both of these scales are in E, so you should be able to hear the difference without having to transpose between keys. That's major. And now, back to Mixolydian. So you can really hear that that 7th note, now it's been dropped to a flat 7, has really changed the feel of the scale. And we've achieved that change without learning to have to play any different holes in any different ways, just by moving our root note from one hole to another. Alright, let's repeat the process for third position. Once again, we want to play in the key of E, so we're being told that for third position we need a D harp. And as before, we find that just one scale degree is now out of place, so we'll just swap the third for a flat third. And now this gives us a Dorian scale, and this is what it sounds like. Let's compare it to Mixolydian in second, and Dorian back in third. So again, pretty different sound. We're not going to analyze these scales here. There's plenty of videos out there doing that for you. However, I will highlight that each time we move up a position, we're bringing one alteration into the scale degree pattern, and we see a characterful shift as a result. Isn't that interesting? Next, let's do the same in fourth position. As before, we want our scale, whatever it's going to be in the key of E, and this time we're being told that in order to do that, we need to use a G harmonica, which is fine because I've got one of those. And after flattening the 6th, here's what the scale sounds like. And that was an Aeolian scale. Now look, these names aren't important, you don't need to remember them, but they do help me make my next point, which is this. You already know that this instrument is called a major diatonic harmonica. The diatonic means that it was built to only play one scale. The major part identifies that scale, so major diatonic means only able to play a major scale. But we know that's not true. We know that if you start on a different note, suddenly you're playing a different scale. So actually, what we have is 7 different diatonic harmonicas in one, just depending on which place you start. So in fourth position, you have an Aeolian diatonic harmonica in your hands. Start in third position, and suddenly it's a Dorian diatonic harmonica. Second position, it's a Mixolydian diatonic harmonica. And in first position, we're back to major diatonic harmonica. Now, none of this is to forget that with bending and overblowing, you can push each of these positions beyond these native characteristics. After all, we wouldn't have blues harmonica if the only thing we could play in second position was the Mixolydian scale. But Mixolydian is at the core of blues harmonica. And that's why I call these the foundational characteristics of each position. And understanding them means we have a platform from which to creatively expand outwards. So let's get back to our process. We're moving up to 5th position now, which needs a C harmonica to play an E. Let's flatten this too, so we're just playing the notes on the home row. And now we're playing a Phrygian diatonic harmonica, which sounds like this. Next up is 6th position. We're going to need an F harmonica for this. And after flattening this 5, that makes this a Locrian diatonic harmonica, and it sounds like this. So next up would be 7th position, but look what we get. Our root note is no longer part of those native home rows that we've been restricting ourselves to. And we can't swap the root for the 7 because your scale's got to have a root, right? So where does that leave us? Well, 7th is a position and it's playable, but it doesn't form part of the relationships that we're investigating today. So we're going to put it aside for now. Now, if you're paying close attention, you might be thinking, we've got 7 notes in the scale and we've just covered 6 positions. Where's our 7th note? Well, the answer to that is not at 7, but it's back at 12, or up at 12, depending on how you look at it. Now, 12 is a long way from 6, so we've got some tidying up to do. But once we've done that, what we have is a Lydian diatonic harmonica, and it sounds like this. And if you compare that to a major scale, once more. So that flat 5th, which really should be marked down as a sharp 4, because it's the 4th note in the scale, is what makes the characteristic sound of what I'm calling a Lydian diatonic harmonica, major diatonic in 12th position. Now, I had to change my root pitch to B flat for that one because I ran out of harmonicas, but hopefully you didn't even notice. So what have we learnt here? Well, we've learned that a major diatonic harp can be played in 7 positions which are all sympathetic to its design, and we've learned that all of those positions are consecutive in number, as 12 through to 6, bearing in mind that 12 over to 1 is consecutive because these relationships are circular, and after 12 the next position is 1. Look up the circle of fifths if you don't know what I'm talking about. But since they're all consecutive, that really shows you that there's something magical about this circle of fifths that we base our position numbers on. We've also learned that between each of these positions, just one single scale degree is shifted, and with just a single scale degree shifting, we can sense quite a change in the character of the scale. And in subsequent videos, we're going to build on this even more to explore how you can use these foundation characteristics and take them in different directions. It's really one of the beautiful things about harmonica. Alright, I hope you found that interesting. The app we've been using here is called HarpGuru. If you like what you've seen, then go and show it some love on Android Play. If you've got any questions or requests, then I'd be happy to take them on the developer email which is included in the video description. Please like and subscribe to make sure you're notified of upcoming videos on this subject and on other subjects. We'll be using HarpGuru to do some pretty cool stuff. And I'd also recommend that you check out Will Wild's series on the modes of the major scale, where he demonstrates the musical application of what we've been showing here. In fact, if you've already seen that series, it might be interesting to go back to it now that you've had this more visual demonstration and see whether you can get anything more from it. I'd be really interested to hear if that's the case. So with that, I'll sign off for the day. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next video.